Hello guys, it's Teenage DC Fan back with another video, and in this latest episode of The Flash, Ramsey tempted Barry with the dark side. So throughout the whole episode, whenever Ramsey was talking to Barry, basically what he was saying was, "Barry, come, join the dark side." So yeah, that's basically what he was saying throughout the whole episode, but before I get into the spoilery stuff of the episode, here's a quick warning. This video will contain spoilers for the latest episode of The Flash, titled The Last Temptation of Barry Allen, Part 1. So if you haven't seen it yet, then go check it out before you watch this video. But you have been warned. Alright, so Grant Gustin's performance on The Flash is usually great. Tonight, however, he flexed even harder in an emotional and torturous episode that saw Barry Allen torn between life and death. This may be one of Grant Gustin's best turns on the show yet. So without further ado, let's dive into this episode. So The Last Temptation of Barry Allen Part 1 picks up immediately where last week's episode left off, with Ramsey tackling Ralph off of the roof. And the iffy CGI aside, because it didn't look great here, but, you know, I'm going to let it slide. Their alleyway confrontation does a good job of setting the hour's dark and scary tone, especially when Ramsey uses his bloodwork powers to throw cars and black goo at Ralph. Ramsey wants to kill Ralph because he and the rest of Team Flash are the only things preventing him from spreading his version of eternal life. Even though Ralph avoided dying in the alley, he's still on death's door because some of Ramsey's black goo pierced his skin. Frost rushes back to Star Labs, and in the hope that his speed healing can temporarily be transferred to Ralph to save his life, Barry phases through Ralph's rubbery skin and gives him a blood transfusion. It ends up working, and Ralph stabilizes and is transferred to a secure Argus facility to recover. Of course, though, there's a downside to this, last minute save. Because some of the goo in Ralph's bloodstream made its way into Barry. And it takes a while, but eventually Barry collapses on the ground of his apartment, and the Speed Force, in the form of his mother Nora, appears to him and explains that his speed healing is keeping Ramsey's attempt to take over his body at bay, but the only way for Barry to truly overcome it is for him to fight back with his mind. Unfortunately, this infection is actually sentient, which means Ramsey is right there in Barry's mind too. So, Ramsey goes full psychopath in this episode as he tempts Barry with the prospect of everlasting life. Since he's inside his brain, he has access to everything and knows exactly what Barry is facing in the crisis. He tells Barry that his black goo can not only save Barry, but also everyone else from perishing in the forthcoming crisis. The battle of wits inside of Barry's mind allows the show to dip into the horror genre a bit and deliver some truly unsettling visuals, like Ramsey's black goo spewing from a lasagna at an imaginary West family feast, which was disgusting because Ramsey walked in and he was like, "I brought lasagna," and then they started eating the lasagna, and then black goo started coming out of it, and then it was all over their faces and stuff, and it was disgusting. But anyway, Ramsey throws everything at Barry, from the lingering guilt and pain he feels for everyone he's lost, to his genuine desire to save people. And he shows Barry that he could use the goo to resurrect someone who dies in an accident. So by coming at it from all angles, it's very easy to see why Barry is tempted by what Ramsey is offering. He has so much to lose now. The Speed Force notices Barry is succumbing and feeling doubt about staying the course for Crisis. She comes close to getting Barry back on track, but she lets slip that the reason Ramsey is convincing is that he's telling the truth. His goo would save Barry and everyone he loves from Crisis. So this goo is the key. But with that one admission, Barry starts to turn on the Speed Force and lets out all of his pent-up resentment toward it. So as Ramsey stands behind him like the devil on his shoulder, Barry pulls a reverse flash and phases through the Speed Force. And if it wasn't clear that the show was mirroring what Reverse Flash did to Nora, the episode also flashes back to the night of the murder, just so you get it. And that was really cool to see the dynamic. Like, back in Season 1, we saw Reverse Flash kill Nora Allen by phasing through her. But in this episode, we basically saw Barry kill Nora Allen by phasing through her. So, I mean, it wasn't actually her, it was just the Speed Force. But the Speed Force doesn't fall right then, though, because Cisco and Kalen inject Barry with Velocity to help his speed healing, which gives the Speed Force a second wind, but it's not enough because Barry has already chosen life. When Barry wakes up, he initially seems like he overcame Ramsey's infection, but Iris quickly realizes that's not the case. Team Flash tries to confront Barry, but he's gone blood work. His eyes and mouth are covered in black goo. Barry speeds out of the Cortex in a black blur and meets up with his blood brother Bloodwork as the episode ends. And you can see on screen here what he looks like as the Bloodwork Flash. So, yes, I know Team Flash will rescue Barry from the dark side by the end of the mid-season finale's second part. However, at this point in the Flash's run, it's not about the ending, but the journey. A successful story doesn't need to make me worried about Barry's life. It needs to get me invested in the emotional journey leading to the obvious endpoint. In this case, I think the show has successfully done that. Barry's been grappling with his impending demise all season long, and he's been through so much. I believe that he would slip in and give in to Ramsey's offer, especially given everything that Ramsey threw at him. And Grant Gustin's pain performance throughout the entire episode, especially in his confrontation with the Speed Force, definitely helped sell this dark turn too. So, while all of this was going on though, The Flash also continued its trend of using every episode to set up the post-crisis world. In an attempt to avoid writing her Flash disappears in a crisis story, Iris throws herself into investigating the secret organization that turned Allegra's cousin into an assassin. Eventually, though, she sits down and starts writing. Now, the thing is, I don't know why or how she's writing this before it actually happens. I get that she knows it's going to happen, but she doesn't know exactly how it's going to happen. She just knows that he's going to die. So I don't know how she can write an article ahead of time. But anyway, Allegra confronts Iris about being Iris about Barry being the Flash, and is annoyed when she finds out that Camilla knew before her too. And also at the end of the episode, Nash uses some device to break apart the rock, covering up the door to the Monitor's hiding place, where we see 7 different symbols. Now, I'm not sure what these symbols mean, but they have something to do with Mar-No Vu. But that is pretty much what happened in this episode. I really love this episode, and I'm excited to see what comes next in part 2. So stay tuned for my next review for The Flash, and also stay tuned for my Arrow episode review, which will be coming out shortly after this video. So thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video so I can bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.